So I was reading the dailies today, and I noticed that a new Dakota Fanning film is coming out to streaming October 10th after its premiere at Fantastic Fest, and that is Vicious. It's a new horror film that she starred in that's coming. Originally, it was supposed to get a theatrical release, but apparently it's skipping theaters now and coming straight to streaming on Paramount Plus October 10th after its premiere at Fantastic Fest. Which you don't know, Fantastic Fest is a big film festival held in Austin, Texas, usually around September, October every year. Amazing festival. I've only actually had the opportunity or the pleasure to go once. Best experience ever. I wish I could go again. I actually planned on going a few times after I went, but it just didn't work out. And then COVID happened, and because I went in 2018, missed out on going in 2019 due to where I couldn't get off, and then was planning to go in 2020, then COVID happened, and then after that just kind of fell through the loops. Now I got kids and can't go anymore. But it was definitely one of the best experiences. Absolutely love that festival. I'm kind of shocked, though, that it is getting a straight-to-streaming premiere and not getting a theatrical release. A horror film in October definitely could do some damage at the box office. Well, that's kind of a double-edged sword. Damage as in you can really rack some money, and or it can also really flunk. But again, that really takes a shock to me because I was reading the dailies on Friday, and the head of, or like the VP of Paramount Plus streaming, I can't remember what their exact title was saying that they're actually pushing more into theatrical releases, and they're not going to do any more films on the streaming service, or having more films debut on the streaming service. Everything is going to be theatrical releases. The only thing they're making for the streaming service is going to be TV shows, and everything else, movie-wise, is going to be theatrical releases, and then eventually, yes, they would hit the platform after their theatrical run at some point, but they're not making anything exclusively for the platform. So the fact that this one got kind of pulled out of theaters and put right on the platform is kind of shocking. Again, I didn't look the numbers up, probably should have before I started making this video. This is Dakota Johnson's second horror film in the last 2 years. Last year, we got The Watchers. I don't recall the exact box office numbers, but I do believe it did decent at the box office. I know it wasn't a monster at the box office, but I don't think it really flunked that bad. But with that being said, again, Dakota Fanning hasn't done that many films in the past couple of years. Now, I mean, if you look at her IMDb filmography, yes, she has had steady work over the past few years. I know, like, she did Now It's Good in 2014. She did Please Stand By in like 2016 or 17. And she did a couple other films like here or there, but it felt like she didn't really, she was working, like she had a couple credits, like each year she'll like have 1 or 2 credits in her filmography, whether that be like a small role here or there, a TV episode maybe, but I feel like she hasn't done much. Like I feel like when she was younger, like I grew up watching Dakota Fanning, like I was a kid when she was, making her debut in films like Man on Fire, Uptown Girls. Like I actually remember being a kid seeing Uptown Girls in theaters. My mom and her friend and their daughters and all dragged me, like they all went to the movies, and I kind of dragged along because I was too young to stay at home. It was actually really cool. Actually, as much as I hated admitting it at the time, I actually did like Uptown Girls. But I remember growing up watching her, and I feel like over the last couple of years she hasn't done that much. I mean, she had a cameo in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I feel like she really wasn't making, like, she has been like an A-list actress in a while. I feel like she kind of was at one point as a child actor. She was like an A-list child actor there for a while, but kind of like falling off a little bit. But in the last couple of years, she's Equalizer 3, The Watchers, and this year she's doing Vicious. Her new film Vicious comes out. With this being her second horror film in 2 years, my question, or even kind of hope, I would say, is I like this. I think she would definitely. Again, I haven't seen Watchers yet. I actually pre-ordered the 4K. Got it when it came out. It's been sitting in my collection on my shelf ever since. Yet to watch it. Still kicking myself for it. I probably should watch that soon. But I would like to see a resurgence of her career, and I wonder if horror films would be her resurgence. Could it be, like, I feel like she definitely could be the next Scream Queen, and I think we're on that track. It may be too early to call it, but I feel like, doing 2 horror films in 2 years, she might be on the track. Well, she's definitely on the right track. Now, again, with this one getting a straight-to-video release, it's kind of iffy. Horror films, people, I'm going to say horror fans will seek out horror films. So it not getting a theatrical release isn't a huge deal for horror fans because they're going to watch it. and I think they'll definitely check it out. Will it be a huge hit on the streaming platform? Too early to tell. I mean, coming out October 10th, it's right in time for spooky season. Even your more casual viewers watch a lot more horror films in October, so it could uplift the viewership on the film on the streaming platform. However, again, early to call it, but I think she could potentially be the next Scream Queen, and I would love to see that happen. I think that would definitely be something to rejolt her career. I mean, if you look at past Scream Queens, Neve Campbell after Scream became a huge success. Melissa Bartlett after, or even Jenna Ortega. We'll use Jenna Ortega as a better example. After Scream, I mean, she kind of hit big with, she had You, and then she did Babysitters 2 on Netflix, which kind of helped her get a little bit more popularity, and then Scream came out, and she just blew up. Samantha Weaver, she did the Babysitter movie for Netflix, horror film, and then she did Ready or Not, blew up. Again, her career really kind of blew up. A couple of Scream Queens who, did a horror film that really was popular and kind of blew up their career. And I feel like Dakota Fanning could have a resurgence in the horror, like if she did a couple more horror films. I feel like she hasn't had her big hit yet. I feel that if she continues on this path for the next 2 to 3 years and just does another couple horror films, I think within the next 2 or 3 years she could have a huge resurgence. And I think horror would be a thing to that. And I would love to see her, do another like indie horror film or kind of like obscure horror film that isn't like a mainstream established franchise or IP, and then just kind of blow it from that and really kind of put her back on the map, I'll say. Because they ain't a comeback, she ain't went nowhere, but to really kind of put her back on the map as an A-list actress, I think without question she could wield a grade A horror franchise and really kind of put her back on the map and birth just a fantastic franchise. I would love to see that happen. Again, I don't know if she plans to do any more horror films in the next couple of years, but I think she definitely has the potential to kind of make a iconic franchise. Again, this is speculation. This is kind of a long shot, but just based upon her last 2 years and like a couple of films she's putting out, it looks like she's doing more horror. And I think horror film is one of those things that, all you need is one good one, and it blows up your career. Like Wes Craven, prime example. He did a lot of horror films in the 70s. He had some big hits, some pretty decent hits, a couple of misses, and then in 84 he did Nightmare on Elm Street, and it just like completely blew his career. Like, I mean, he just went to the top. And again, all you need is that one good film, especially in the horror film, to really make you iconic. And I think her time might come. What are your thoughts? Comment below. Let me know.